You can watch Army-Navy on CBS as always, and he can be seen on Inside College Football, including Friday's Army-Navy preview show on the CBS Sports Network. Our good friend, Randy Cross. Randy, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good, DA. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Did you agree with the committee jumping LSU to 1 over Ohio State?
Yeah, I guess based on the way they dismantled Georgia, you sort of were obligated. And Ohio State struggled / took them a while to put Wisconsin away. So I wasn't too surprised, though I just think from watching the games for the whole year, I believed Ohio State was the most complete team out there. But I understand what they did, and it sets up a semifinal game that's as good as any final we've seen in quite some time with Ohio State and Clemson playing.
Dabo has been barking about the little respect that they're getting. They're only number 3. They're undefeated, and yet they're number 3. Does he have a valid point there?
I think if you credibility / credit, whatever you want to call it, that kind of goes with the wind these days. Because if you looked at past years, if you're a defending champion, if you're 28-0, you're going to get kind of the benefit of the doubt a lot of times. And heck, pick the sport. But that just doesn't work that way right now in college football. And I think because of this committee and whatever their moving structure is and what they're going to use as, what they're going to guide their votes as, I think you could be Dabo and use it to your advantage, and goodness knows he has. And if he ends up winning this semi and gets into the finals, I think people are going to see a team that over the course of the last, I guess especially the last month and a half, has done nothing but get better. I think he's got something going on that's pretty special there at Clemson. And if he gets out of this thing 30-0, I guarantee you this time next year he'll be ranked number 1.
Randy Cross joins us this morning here on the show for the CBS Sports Network. Part of the reason that Clemson might not get the respect that it feels it deserves is because the ACC is so bad. That's, of course, not Clemson's responsibility to make sure that the conference is good or better. What's the biggest reason in your mind that outside of Clemson, the ACC is so down as a football conference?
Well, I just think you've got some marquee programs that have really lost their way. If you looked at the story of the year in the ACC, it might be Virginia playing better than expected, or Virginia Tech are playing better than expected, or Wake at times playing better than expected. But you can't disregard, the two sort of hood ornament programs in the ACC besides Clemson are FSU and Miami. And they've both been pretty sorry the last few years. And that really hurts and hamstrings the conference in general when those two programs at times have been as bad as they have.
Is there a way out for those two programs?
Oh, there always is. I mean, it's the same as always. You don't sort of earn your way out. You just got to work your way out. And they've got to recruit better. They've got to coach better. They've got to, just become better, just more solid programs. Because that's one thing they have not been, especially for a program like FSU. And in the short term, I would definitely, and I think Manny Diaz is a good coach, but I would give Mike Norvell being at FSU, you better watch out for him. I've seen him quite a bit here at Memphis. And if you're in the ACC, you better get state-of-the-art defense ready, because I guarantee you the Seminoles are going to have a powerful offense in short order with him around.
Yeah, I like him as well. Randy Cross joins us this morning here on CBS Sports Radio. Oklahoma had trouble with Baylor twice. They also had trouble with Iowa State closing that game out. They lost to K-State, and they had trouble closing out TCU. Can they hang with the number 1 team of the country in LSU in this game?
I don't think so. I believe the final result is somewhere right at or north of what the experts say, as they say, with that spread being, about 10 points?
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere in the 14 to 17 when it's all said and done range, because Joe Burrow and LSU are just that good, especially offensively. I'm not sure if Oklahoma can hang with them.
In the other game, you have this Clemson-Ohio State matchup, and for Ohio State, as you said, one of the most complete teams of the country, perhaps the most complete team of the country, but they struggled a little bit with Penn State, kind of an ugly win there, and then in the Big Ten championship game, fell behind by 2 touchdowns to Wisconsin. Are those blips? Are they truly far better than that would indicate, and would you expect them to look elite against Clemson?
Well, they better be elite against Clemson or they're going to get boat raced. I think them getting down by 2 touchdowns to Wisconsin was more of a testament to how ready Wisconsin was to play. And I give credit to their ability to just sort of take a deep breath and come back and get back ahead of those guys. That's a difficult. When you're always expected to win and you run into somebody that's really, really ready, it's hard to sort of rally and have the guts to come back. And I give them a lot of credit for being able to do that. But Clemson, with their talent, you look at Clemson in general, for all the guys they lost to the NFL last year, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to still be able to do the things that they're able to do, I think it's crazy. And that offense, for as talented as Ohio State is, they haven't seen anybody yet, even in practice, that's got the talent level and the speed that Clemson does.
Why do you think the Georgia offense, with a really good quarterback, with experience, couldn't ever find its footing this year?
I'm not convinced Jake Fromm is that good a quarterback. I think Jake Fromm is a good quarterback, but he happens to be in a playoff with a dynamic guy like, Hurts that's at Oklahoma. He's got Burrow. He's got Fields. He's got, all these different guys, a couple of which were at one time at Georgia, like Fields. He just doesn't have the goods like some of these other guys have. And I think part of it is the injuries they had and the lack of toys around him. But, I just have not been that impressed. I just think he's more of a dreaded game manager type than he is a dominant quarterback. You just don't see him with the arm and the ability NFL-wise to throw the ball all over the field like you do with guys like Lawrence and Burrow.
Let's wrap up with Army-Navy. Coming up, you'll be part of the preview show on CBS Sports Network. Saturday at 3 is Army-Navy Eastern Time. Now you've got a 5-7 Army team against a 9-2 Navy team. 9-2 Navy has been ranked in the 20s right now, and it's a pretty big spread. Navy by 10. That's what the Vegas odds makers think at Lincoln Financial Field. Do you think that Army, kind of a rare down year for Monken and company, can pull the upset over Navy?
Yeah, they've won 3 straight, and if there's one thing you've got to learn when you get to games like this, in general, Army-Navy, it's going to be a one-score event. I don't care what the records are coming into it, it's going to be one score. And especially looking at the way that Army has played, I think they've lost 7 games, and 5 of them have been one-score losses. And Navy, that's their forte. That's their MO. They play teams, like SMU and Memphis and teams like that. It's a one-score deal, and I think that's what happened Saturday. I think it's a one-score happening. There's going to be a heck of a lot of good running the ball with the 2 top running teams in the country. I just think the bottom line is going to be who has the more dynamic pass opportunities. That's something that Navy's added to their repertoire, and at times Monken's Black Knights have done the same thing. Has been able to, get premium reps out of the passing game without having to pass more than, anywhere from 5 to 10 times.
Remember that Navy won more than a decade straight in this matchup, and as Randy just mentioned, Army has won 3 consecutive games of the Army-Navy matchup, which is huge going into this weekend's game. Check out Inside College Football throughout the week for the best in college football. Also Friday night, Army-Navy preview show as well on the CBS Sports Network, and Army-Navy coming up on CBS Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Randy, always good to catch up, man. Thanks so much.
No problem. Hey, you want to see a great spectacle, too. CBS Sports Network on Saturday is the March On Show. That is something.
The March On Show,
Yeah, that's one of those bucket list events as far as this game in general, and that's the highlight of it.
Yeah, check it out. I know the pageantry around this game is just absolutely phenomenal. Very cool. Thanks, Randy.